I hate when I gotta tweak my foot out. You don't really, well, for me, I don't really see the effects though. The next day when I practice, I'm like, oh, it's a little easier. It's a little easier. Five star, what's good, bro? How am I doing? Not so good. My butt keeps sliding off the seat. I need another throne. Not the fake leather ones. I always kind of saw those fleece throne covers. I was like, oh, man, come on, bro. What do you think this is like? We're sitting on Harleys all day, but my butt keeps sliding off. I don't know if that's something new. I mean, I've never had to deal with it before. It's just, I guess it is new. So, um, but yeah, I don't know if it's my. Well, it's probably because my legs are stronger. I've been doing a lot of leg exercises, but not that much, my brother. Huh? Oh no! Oh no! No! I don't want to see that. I'm trying to find something funny. Ooh, DJ Ghost. Gear I wish I bought sooner. Eh, I bought a lot of gear I wish I hadn't bought. If I had the money, I would have kept the money. I bought a lot more than what I needed. It's good that I had the money, but I bought a lot more gear than I needed. Yo, you know it's. Oh wow. You know what's crazy? A biolab exploded south of the county I live in, and just knowing just wind and how currents work and breezes and how airstreams work. Um, I was telling my wife, I said it happened in Rockdale County. She said, "Yeah." I said, "We're gonna get it." She goes, "You think so?" I said, "I know so. Trust me." I said, "They're in Rockdale County. They're right below Gwinnett County." I said, Gwinnett and North Fulton are gonna get it." And I had to basically explain it to her, and then she was like, And the next day, the day after we saw it on the news, she goes, "Well, people in Gwinnett and North Fulton need to stay inside and blah, 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 blah." And I haven't stopped coughing since. It's like the last 3 days. I haven't stopped coughing since. So, I don't know. And I've been the one going outside, so, and it smells like bleach outside. Well, it's chlorine. The, the stuff that burned, the stuff that caught on fire was everything. It was all the chemicals were connected. They contained chlorine. So it was chlorine. It was like it was it all contained chlorine, in some form or another. I think it was three main things that blew up. Um, but I've been snotting and sniffling and coughing ever since. So this is interesting. Um, I don't know. I might be going to the doctors in a couple days. I mean, they already said you should be fine, just stay indoors. And usually, me just knowing chemistry, when you're exposed to chlorine, yeah, just get fresh air and just there's nothing you can really do. You know, wait till the effects wear off. I love police chases. Get him! Get him! Get him! Dang. Oh, he got him. Ah. Yo, bro, and I know it sounds like it would be a good problem, but it really isn't a good problem because it gives you. Sometimes you gotta limit your choices. I had too many choices. I had so many microphones. I had a big 32 channel console with flying faders, and I had too much stuff. I had just like I mean, granted, I think the stuff I came out with was it really sounded really, really good. Like, really good. Pictures on the movie screen. Everything I ever seen. Da, 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 da. Now her name is up in lights. Everything turns out alright. Cameras, action. Uh, ba, ba, da, if you know your Van Halen, you know that song. And then the next song is. That's an awkward riff. Get out of push. Get out of push. That was like, I think that was Van Halen's peak. Anything after that, like Diver Down, was trash. Yeah, that was like horrible. 1984, yeah, they had pretty much gone musically through anything they had kind of done. And 84 was just kind of like, I don't know, man. It was a weird throw together. Um, it didn't have that angry LA Sunset Strip, dangerous party, sunset. It had the, it was a, they were, by 1984, they, with Diver Down, they were kind of, They ran out of musical ideas. I think that was like the last of it. Um, Stuff with like Cathedral and stuff like that. But by the time 1984 came around, they were like a caricature of, you know, they were all like, I think you get to a certain point where you wrap up all the cliches of who you are, and this is what the public sees you as, and that's what you got to put together. But like the exploratory kind of experimental stage that you've gone through, that your good stuff comes from, that stage is gone, man. You know, unfortunately, the way pop music works is if you grow and you keep experimenting, you know, well, the only way you can really do it is you got to keep growing. You got to keep growing because Kanye proved that you can keep growing and create something completely different, you know, and people accept it. Kanye's proved that. You know, Kanye's proved that. Jay-Z's proved that. Like a lot of people, even Taylor Swift. You know that. You know, if your audience buys into who you are, then the direction that you go in, you know, they're pretty much gonna ride with you. But people gotta buy into you, not like your mac and cheese, you know, McDonald's burgers and fry music. You gotta actually come with something like to offer, something that people can sit with, something that people can relate to, something that people can date their life to. You know, when I say date their life, they could be like, I remember when such and such dropped. I was in like the ninth grade and blah, 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 blah. Like you can date your life to these songs. If you write a hit song, just a regular pop hit song, you know, your music just becomes like the background music to the other stuff that you really remember. You know what I mean? Like the important artists that you really remember. So, you know, I don't know. I have a lot to say about the state of the music industry. It's not discouraging to me. You know, it just is what it is. You know, I'm not afraid of all this record industry shake-up stuff. Oh, you're not making music and streaming. Look, artists will always find a way to make money. We will always find a way. If you're an artist, you're a hustler. That like you find ways to make money. Joker's just going to, you want to hear my music? Go to direct to consumer. I don't gotta, you know, you don't gotta go to Spotify or nothing. I'll go directly to you. You know, no middleman, no label, no nothing. You know, and it's people I know making like $3,500 a week. That's not bad. Yeah, what's up? Sure? Oh, okay. Cymbals, hi hats. Um, okay, you can hear me. 13-inch Zildjian K Custom Dark. Zildjian A Custom Crash 18-inch. 13-inch, 18-inch. That's a stack I made with some old cymbals that I just threw together. This is a Mino Bell. I love the way they sound. This is a excuse me, Zildjian K Constantinople 22-inch medium low. That is a Starion 18-inch China. It's a piece of trash, but it's got the right rattle. You know. Yeah, it's busted up, but if I get another one, it's not gonna sound like that. This has the right. I would have to, if I got another one, I would have to actually put rivets in it, which I'm not. You know, I put rivets in this. You know, I put rivets in this. This This stack is an old Zildjian 16-inch and a Sabian 18-inch. I just cut them down. I made them a stack. This stack is an old. It's the rest of this Sabian. It's the outer part of this Sabian. Um, and a 16-inch what's called Krut cymbal, Krut. It's Turk spelled backwards, of course, because you can spell, so you know that. But it was a cymbal brand made by it was a cymbal brand made out of Britain, and they actually weren't bad. They just broke really really easy. Like I'm really surprised that this one has like lasted this long. I've had this for like 3 years. It's probably lasted so long because I really don't hit it much. Um, they sounded pretty good, but they were very, very brittle and very easy to break. I know all of this because and they were out in I want to say the 30s and 40s, all the way up until like maybe the 60s when the company folded. I know all this because I got one. I had I was fortunate enough to invest, let's just say, a lot of money in myself and buy a bunch of gear. And in terms of drum like cymbals, it just depends. A ride I'll buy new. Hi hats I might buy new. Um, but other cymbals I buy them used. Um, and I was just used cymbal shopping, and I ran across these cymbals, Krut cymbals. This was like '09. It's like '08, '09. Yeah, it's like '08. So I just Googled it and found everything. I found out everything about the company and all of that. Also, they kind of fell out of favor because Krut sounds too much like crude, and they were associated with being crude. So they sound good. They don't last like I've had them before. There's a reason why they don't. Nobody buys them. Yeah, yeah. So I like uniformity. Like I have Sabians, and I actually had a set of 14-inch Sabian hi hats. I don't know what I did with them. Um, what did I do with them? Oh, I know what I got rid of them. I sold them. Um, I have another set of hi hats over there, 13-inch hats. I have another ride, which it's a Sabian. I have another crash, which that's a Zildjian. It's like a Zildjian A crash, 18-inch A crash. I have a 20-inch Sabian ride, and I have a 16 and a 16-inch Sabian crash. I only have those just in case, like if I'm doing a house drummer gig, like if I'm doing an open jam gig, they're like, Mark, we want you to be the house drummer. I'm like, all right, I'll play with these cymbals, and then once it's time for everyone else to start playing my drum set, I'll switch them out with the crappy cymbals. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what you do. Um, Although the hats aren't crappy, but they could take a beating, you know. And if somebody tries to steal them, I'll be like, whatever. You stole some crappy hi hats that I didn't even pay for. Somebody gave them to me. Um, if they steal the ride cymbal, same thing. I didn't pay for it. If you steal that Zildjian crash, the 18-inch crash, I didn't pay for it. If you steal, like I didn't, that other set of cymbals, I didn't pay for them. Somebody gave them to me. So, you know, two different people gave me cymbals. Which that's another story. Um, I'm a firm believer in lean into what you are. Lean into what you are. Lean into who you are in terms of an artist. If, like, for instance, if you play piano and you're like, yeah, I play piano, I play keyboards, blah 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 blah, you become known as the person who plays piano, or you become or plays keyboards. Guess what happens? If this lady you know, who's like rich, her and her husband are rich, and they have a child that wanted to play piano, but they outgrew it. But because they're rich, they want to give their child the best, so they buy them a really 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 nice set of keyboards. Well, guess what? The person they're gonna think about is you, because they know you as the keyboard player. That's how I get drums and recording equipment. People give me that stuff. Lean into who you are, bro. The universe will find ways to supply you with the tools you need to create. You know, that sounds like ooh, you know, but it's true. It sounds like spooky and kind of corny and cheesy, but it's true. You know what I mean? And I say the universe because I don't know everybody's religion. I'm a Christian. You know, that whole concept. Like, bro, like if you have a God given gift, man, lean into it. You know, since we're gonna talk about God, if you have a gift, lean into it. I got a story about that, but that's for another time. A really really good story that actually I think it would encourage a lot of people. Um, but like for instance, when I say lean into it, people that knew me back in the day, um, one of the things they said, "Oh, he's weird. Oh, he's smart." Some girls are like, "He's cute." Some dudes are like, "He's corny." Some dudes are like, "Well, he's cool." But in addition to all of those descriptions, I was known as the guy who plays drums. You know, um, so it's weird because for a lot of years you feel stupid until you later in their years, and then you start having people like I'm at a point in my life where like Facebook is like it's like high school reunion basically. I don't really use it. I'm usually on YouTube or X or Twitch or you know or Rumble or something like that, or Discord. You know, I go on Facebook because a lot of my family's there, a lot of my classmates, all of that stuff. Or like I'm on TikTok or whatever. Um, I'm not really on Instagram or Facebook. But um, I find a lot of my friends like it's weird because I was like a music nerd, and then like as I got older, like I became a desirable dude. You know, and then like all of the what you deem as cool or desirable, that stuff as you get older, that stuff starts to melt away, and people start seeing the lasting things that you have. And then it was kind of weird because it was like when you're doing something that's just beyond your peers, it's like weird. That's the only way I can explain it. Like, I would like record jazz stuff, like snippets of me actually like jazz songs that I wrote, and I had other guys play, but I wrote it and I'm playing the drums to it, and they're like, "Oh, now I was the same dude that was kind of like he's weird. He looks like Steve Urkel, but he got bumpy skin and he always playing drums." Now it's like, "Oh wow," and there's a side of you that's like, I still remember, I don't forget. You know what I mean? But that's where you got to do a lot of work on yourself because you can't continue to think that way because it'll eat you up. I know people like that, and I think they're coming into their happiness now. But it took them. They're in their 60s. It took them to be in their 60s to let go and to forgive. So, you know, um, while I'm watching this dude get locked up. Boy, you done threw your life away. Oh well. But yeah, so but yeah, there's something I've learned. What you pour yourself into, um, there's something I learned. There aren't a lot of people when you stick to something and you do something and you're this is what you've done since you were a child, and this is what you do that now that you're an adult. This is you're married. You have kids. You got a kid in college. This is me. Got a kid in college. All of this stuff. Um, it's weird to indulge in something that people kind of see as a weird kind of teenage thing on or like a phase until years later when you're like established and you're married and all the party years are gone and you are an official adult but you're still playing with the same passion. um People respect it. It's weird. Like you still play with the same mindset and the same focus and the same passion because decades have passed, and it's impressive to people. You don't think of it at the time, and this goes for anybody um, that's young. You know, if you're in your late teens, early 20s, or whatever, there are gonna come times where things you feel stupid doing things, whether it's academic, whatever. All your friends are partying and doing all of this stuff, but you stay focused. Your abilities, you know, people respect that and they admire it. You know what I mean? You don't think of it at the time, and your friends don't think of it that way at the time. You know, um, you know, especially if it's like like I got friends who are doctors and lawyers, and it's weird, man. It's really really weird because those professions, I think what it is those are kind of respectable in that they're those professions like a doctor or lawyer, they're respectable in that they're stable. Um, Whereas music is usually a starving artist thing. I think the trick with music is to find a way to monetize everything you do as soon as possible. Become your own self contained unit as soon as possible. Wear as many hats as soon as possible. I was fortunate because number one, I love to learn. Number two, I came up in an era when hip hop deaded live music. When I say deaded live music, they weren't hiring drummers because they just use a drum machine. They weren't hiring bass players; they could just sequence it. They weren't hiring keyboards. They just run a backing track and had like some dancers and a dude rapping, and then that bled into R&B. R&B was just kind of like the last bastion of live music in popular music, live instrumentation of popular music. And then that whole New Jack Swing wave came in, and once that came in, everything. Puffy came in with, he had his put his own stank on, hip hop soul thing with Jodeci and Mary J. Blige, and Heavy D was kind of like blurring the lines, you know. And then live musicians were just not being hired at all. So I said, okay, self, you always been interested in recording and engineering. that's what you got to learn. So that's what I learned, you know. But like, I was always kind of learning. Like, I learned drums last. Um, I learned guitar first, and then I was starting to learn piano until I lied and told my friends I could play drums because I wanted to be cool. Again, I look like Steve Irwin with bad skin, but I lied to my friends and said I could play drums. So then I was like 13. So then I was like, I gotta learn how to play drums to keep up the lie. So then I got some hangers. You know the hangers? Remember the hangers? They were like metal, but they had the piece of wood. Well, I went in my mom's closet and I raided her closet, all the hangers, and it was my drumsticks. And then I got some Tupperware bowls and I sat them around me like a drum set in some old boxes, and I was just like, you know. And me, I can turn off and on. Like, I have an ability to hyper focus and obsess. I can turn it off and on. And I just turned on a hyper focus and I just like studied everything voraciously at the time. Zeppelin was like popping, and Bonham was dead, but Zeppelin was popping. Um, Rush was popping, you know, all that stuff. Limelight, moving pictures was just popping. You know, I'm dating myself. Um, so I learned every Rush album, literally, note for note, literally. Every Zeppelin album, note for note, literally. Sabbath up to Technical Ecstasy. I learned Heaven and Hell too. I learned Mob Rules too. That was the Ronnie James Dio years. Um, Van Halen, the first four albums. Um, then I started learning Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Yes, King Crimson. Then I started learning Metallica, Flotsam and Jetsam, Anthrax, um, Suicidal Tendencies. Then I was moving into like learning Black Flag, and you know, I was wearing at that time I had a green mohawk. I used to wear a black dress with black Doc Martens and black stockings. Um, Let me see. And then I just kind of like dumped it all and went in a hip hop direction. And I was in a band that was kind of like almost kind of like a Jamiroquai kind of band, in that we were all hired guns, you know, in our local, well, music circles. We were hired guns, and we just decided to start a band. So we got a 5-bedroom house and started a band, you know, and we were like cutting heads. We used to embarrass people. That was fun. It is fun. It is fun. I mean, but eventually it gets kind of tired. It's wild. I'll say this. I'll say this. It's wild seeing four black dudes walk in playing rock songs note for note. Like note for note. It's wild. And like obvious black dudes, like baggy jeans, is, you know, like black dude, regular black dudes in a rock club playing rock songs. It's wild, bro. The shock is insane, you know. But we used to do stuff like that. Whitefish Bay, where is that? Florida. The shock is hilarious, bro. I'm telling you, the shock is hilarious, and the girls loved it. But I'll leave that alone. That's hard to play relaxed. Like to play that in a relaxed manner, that's kind of hard. All right, I'm going to bounce. I'll be back though. My breath stinks. My breath stinks.